enjoy some cake while we're dancing.
Yes, please eat cake. Alicia.
You guys gonna do the dance, right?
Wait, do one of you want to fix me?
I did.
We should wait for my parents.
Oh, wait.
Pause. And then we should also make sure the volume's high. Anusha's parents, are you here?
You want a mic?
Oh, no, I'm pretty loud. Mom! Maybe she can recognize me. Yeah, that's true. Wait, you sent the final version, right?
Yes.
So it's not going to be the prior version.
Final V2.
You never sent the first version.
You want to hear first?
Oh, no, I think it's probably. What, even if it's not, it's fine. Is Dad here?
One side to put on.
It looks really weird if I do that.
For the first time. No, I think it looks okay.
Like, what if I wrap it all the way?
Yeah,
And then just tuck it in.
And then just
See, I bend a little bit. Okay, beta?
what do you think now?
No.
That look weird, Manu.
No, it
Oh,
looks
you
fine.
can me.
It looks fine.
Sneha.
I did not dance.
Ready? Wait, hold on. As soon as we started, now.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time ever performing live, husband and wife Sharon and Anusha!
Got me wrapped up in your touch. Feel so enamored. In your clutch. Oh, do you do it? You got me losing every breath. Why did you give me to make my heart beat? Put some magic, super magic.
This is the time.
Can we end it on the dance?
No! Wait, you first. Oh no, I get first. Oh wait, no, I get first. Go next.
Good.
Push.
Would you guys look on my camera?
Twist.
Please, just let me finish it. I'm feeling pretty nervous.
Wait, maybe take this tag off first. Take this
Take the
tag
tag off.
Have your fingers gained weight since?
No, they have not.
Get the scissors. You need the scissors? Yeah, somebody get the scissors.
I don't actually know how this works.
It doesn't matter. There we go.
Just put it in this one.
Yeah. Okay, my camera, please. This camera. That's good.
Put one of these.
Show me the waist with this one.
Oh wait, no, it's fit for this finger, that's why. So my finger did not gain weight.
She still gives me crap about it. First for putting on the wrong finger and then for...
There you go.
Alright,
Just
Rich is here.
every finger.
No, then you should put for him also. Oh, he has to have it in the right.
Oh wait, no, which one do you want?
I want it, yeah.
Guys, you should do
Right,
it.
right, fine.
This camera. Let's see that.
Right,
There we go. 1 second, guys. 1 second.
Confusion. Rehearsal banlada.
There was no rehearsal. There we go.
Yes.
Now, pin it for it.
Take out a pin.
Oh, come on, guys. Come on, guys. Come on. 1, 2, 3. This side. Come on, guys. 1, 2. She's doing very good.
Yeah, and then you also your partner is waiting for you.
Music, please.
Okay, Daddy. We practice.
I think.
Alright,
We don't even need practice.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
கண்ணான கண்ணே கண்ணான கண்ணே என் மீது சாயவா கண்ணான நெஞ்சை பொன்னான கையால் பூ போல நீவவா நான் காத்து நின்றேன் காலங்கள் தோறும் என் ஏக்கம் தீருமா நான் பார்த்து நின்றேன் பொன்னானம் எங்கும் என் மின்னல் தோன்றுமா கண்ணீராய் மேகம் தூரும் கண்ணீர் சேரும் கற்கண்டாய் மாறும் ஆராரிராரோ
I tried, guys.
He's too heavy.
Oh, my brother.
Oh, yeah. All right, so I have a speech, of course, you know, the obligatory sibling speech, but we're going to head over here because I have...
Because he created virtual content. Media.
So we are going there?
Yeah, we have to. He spent a lot of time.
Yeah, I know. Finally we got some girl, we can play it.
Okay, so Sia. Should I? Yeah. So Sia prepared artwork for us, and a very lovely note that says, "I hope you will have a great day with your wife." Have you had a great day with your wife, Sharon? Okay.
It's been a wonderful day.
Maybe you should talk to him. Fix him. Thank you. So sweet.
1 second, brother. Could you come on a little picture? Just 3 of you, please. Beautiful. Very good, guys. Very good. One more, guys. One more.
It's all good. It's all good, Preeti. You got this.
Yeah, now sky high.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Okay, I'd like to start by thanking Anusha's family for welcoming us, literally welcoming us into their awesome, lovely home.
You're welcome.
And I'd like to thank our family for their attempt to be on time for everything this past weekend. I'm Preeti. I'm the groom's cousin, and I have looked up to Sharad my whole life, both in maturity and in height. I love Sharad so much and trust him so much that he sent me a really clearly fake promotion once for free guacamole at Chipotle, and I still signed up. Because in my eyes, Sharad can do no wrong. And I love guac. Really though, Sharad is the kind of person to challenge everyone around him to do better and to be better. Whether it's his career in environmental engineering and sustainability, or his calm support and non-judgmental attitude, he leads by example, and he encourages really thought-provoking and positive growth all around him. He's even challenged me to eat nothing but breakfast burritos for 2 weeks straight, which I did, so that was awful, and the free guac really would have helped. Sharad truly is a gem. He is intelligent and empathetic and really funny. When we were out together taking dating profile pictures, he was posing near a statue of a seal, like this. And I wondered, who could be worthy of this handsome genius? And then I heard about Anusha, who is actually not a huge fan of that photo. And Anusha, I'm really glad that you decided to seal the deal with him anyway. Before I knew your name, I knew that Sharad was smitten. He would smile big when you sent him a text message. He would really excitedly share details about your dates. And when he finally did mention you by name, his face would light up in the cheesiest and most endearing way. On our cousins trip, to South Africa, we all knew that he was in love, and we all just could not wait to meet you. I expected Sharad to be with someone equally intelligent and empathetic and funny, which you clearly are, but you're also a lot more than that. In the time that we've gotten to know each other, oh, sorry, I should have paused. I admire how well you both work as a team. Where Sharad can be bindas and chillin', Anusha is clearly proactive and determined. Where Sharad decides to learn stick shift in a foreign country while driving on an icy road without a cell phone, I know that Anusha will be there to call him out, and perhaps in the future that he doesn't risk all of our deaths. And most importantly, when Sharad gets excited about free guac, Anusha, I am counting on you to read the fine print. I really, truly love you both. Very happy to celebrate this awesome couple and all of the good that I know you'll bring into the world. Much love. Cheers to everybody here for their hard work this weekend, and welcome to the family. Okay, amazing speech.
Good job, Preeti.
Did anyone else have a speech?
All right.
Are we supposed to talk or is it people?
Thank you to the Kumar family for hosting. I know that it has been a lot of work, and I think it's really obvious when you just see how much preparation has gone into the weekend. So first, just thank you all for just the amount of work and the time that you put into clearly putting this all together.
Yeah, I think,
I think from my perspective, so this is very off the cuff, like these last few weeks have been crazy, and I'm sure that's how it's been on both sides. For those of you familiar with Survivor, the American reality television show, like these last 3 weeks feel like being on Survivor. So they have this, so Survivor, for those of you that are not familiar, like contestants go to like this tropical island usually, and then have to compete in like tests that test their like physical endurance as well as their social strategy. But anyway, they have this little gimmick where they weigh people both before and after Survivor, and then you just like see them dropping by 20s and 30s to 50s of pounds. It's not that we like emaciated in person, but in terms of the number of tears that were lost, telomeres that were shortened, and maybe like hearing acuity that was lost in the last few weeks. I'm sorry, Mom and Dad, but we survived, hopefully. I mean, so that has overall been a miracle, so thank you all for your support and for joining us on our day and making this like a huge success. This is definitely was like a team sport like from the beginning, so I really appreciate everyone that's here and everyone that came and had to leave. Like, you've all been such a blessing, so thank you all. But as far as miracles, I do feel like Charlotte and I are one of those. So for those of you that don't know the saga of our first dates, our first date began with Charlotte referencing a Hindi class. And mind you, this wasn't a large lecture. This was like a small seminar class that we both took together, but forgot that I took this class with him. So this was our first date, and yes, that's how Charlotte began it.
Was this before or after you came half an hour late?
All right. So Charlotte did end that date by running away from me. And then on our second date, when I asked him whether or not he wanted to continue dating, he told me that he would be going to South Africa for some indefinite period of time. And then on our third date, he told me that he was contemplating moving to New York. So really, I just had to lock this silly man down pretty quickly. But as he does point out, the mixed messages were mutual. Like, I was very late on our first date and made Charlotte wait in line for food that we both consumed. So it worked out well for me. And then he stuck around, so that was a huge sign. And then on our second date, we picked berries, and I stole his portion of the berries. And then on our third date, I told him that he needs to work out more. And yet he still stuck around, so really quite a miracle. But, so I'm so grateful that he tolerates me, but as Preeti points out, Charlotte is a wonderful man. He makes me feel, I think that, like, Charlotte listens to a lot of audiobooks, and he talks a lot about, like, there's this one audiobook about caffeine and how it stimulates, but Charlotte really isn't caffeine. That's okay, I'm caffeine. Charlotte's like, there's that weird saying about like men that are like a fine glass of wine. I don't actually know what that means. But Charlotte does make me feel more calm, and I do feel like I think more clearly in his presence. So I'm really grateful to him for that. And as Preeti mentions, he's that rare person that does live by his values, whether that's his job and his devotion to the climate and to our shared environment, but also whether or not it's just picking up after people's garbage in the movie theater or reminding me to walk on the trail when we go on hikes so I don't destroy the wildlife. He's such a conscientious person, and I am very lucky to have him and hopefully grow by being with him. And I hope that I can be a similar person to him as well. So thank you all, and thank you, Charlotte. I love you all, and thank you so much for
I just want to add one addendum, which is I'm taking a philosophy class with one of my friends, and we were talking about identity, and I think he made this really interesting observation. Like, his theory of identity is that you are who, I mean, maybe it's trite, but you are who like your relationships are. So in the sense that like there is no such thing as you, like a person who just exists in a vacuum. It's like you and your connections that you make in life, and like when you pass, like those connections that live on, like that's who you are as a person. And I think that I'm just thinking about that today in terms of the people who are here, the people who we wish were here but are watching on live stream, or we want to be here. I just think like it's clear that whoever we are as people is because of the environment we're in, it's because of the people we're around, it's because of Tata Pati, our parents, our ates and mamas, like everyone who's shaped us to become who we are. So again, we just couldn't have been who we are without you. We're so glad to have you here, and we're hopeful to kind of continue to have you in our lives.
And thanks especially to my mom and dad. I'm so sorry that you have to put up with me. But you're done now. All right, we'll move on to Deepan. Who can tell you much more about that.
All right, speech, and use this opportunity to roast my sibling without any immediate repercussions. Oh, I am, okay. So, when thinking of this speech, after, begging Sharid to take her, I decided I should at least give him a survival guide on how to survive living with my sisters. So, to begin with, oh.
There we go. Sorry.
Alright. So, to begin with, what are my qualifications? Well, I'm still alive after 25 years with living with my sister, so I think I'm a little bit of a pro. I'm an awesome younger brother, for one, and she somewhat still tolerates me, which, is the goal of all marriages, right? So to begin with, I think this is easily the most important survival tip. Surviving her double standards. Unfortunately, you're just gonna have to get used to it. I'm still trying to figure out a solution for that, and pointing them out does nothing. So some examples, she's a bit of a germaphobe, which I will get to later, and but she likes to leave surprises, like, used tissues in your couch, your chair, your bed. So, yeah, you're just gonna have to figure that out. Secondly, she will get angry at you for snacking at 10 p.m., but guess who's there at 12 a.m.? So moving on, surviving arguments. Ideally, you would win the argument, because you will never hear the end of it. Tips on winning arguments is Wikipedia the subject before the argument, and at worst case scenario, editing it mid-argument. And you can also use distractions, which I will, like a secret weapon, which I will tell you guys about later. And other than that, you can just always call us in, because we will always be on your side unconditionally. So moving on, as I stated before, she's a bit of a germaphobe. On the plus hand, you're gonna have a sterile house. On the negative side, you might need a Xanax from her talking about her flight trip. This was pre-COVID. I had a conversation with her about how someone coughed like 10 rows down, and that affected her health in some manner. And then finally, you're going to have to become her personal doctor despite not knowing medicine. I spent 3 hours one time looking at her hair roots to decide whether or not she had a rare form of hair loss. So learn your dermatology. So, surviving her problematic physics, despite her small size, she usually takes up 4 times the amount of space. I'll get 1/4 of the couch, and she'll get the other 3/4. I would say invest in a box for her, keep her contained. And the other problem is her thermoregulation, or rather, lack thereof. So she will stick to anything that produces heat like a gecko. It may be why she's marrying you. You take the good with the bad. So finally, you want surviving her hunger. She is always hungry. Even if she tells you she is not hungry, she is lying. Food not meant for her is her favorite type of food. And be wary of the statement, "I'm going to just take a small bite." This is is my biggest pet peeve, and I think we've had a conversation about this beforehand. Well, she's pretty trigger happy with the rewind button. She's very, very partial to whether or not they said there versus there. And she'll use any reason to go back in time to see whether or not she can solve the ending. So I suggest watching movies in a theater whenever possible, post-COVID. Surviving giving recommendations. This personally gives me the most anxiety and absolute nightmare. She has no sense of consistency with what she likes. So my suggestion is whether using your friends or your cousins, the union, right? Union. And say they recommended it. That way you play both sides and come out of the top. So surviving her compliments. Unfortunately, this stems from my father, and she needs an incessant, she has an incessant need for praise, whatever it may be. And she's gonna constantly say that she's improving your standard of living. I suggest getting a whiteboard or a tape recorder where you write you are doing a good job, Anusha, or you are the best person in the world, Anusha. And she'll say things that, you may have been doing already and say that she did them. For instance, after living in California for 6 years, she said that she taught us how to hit the side of our car to knock off snow before we get it. Surviving the scrutiny of your actions. She needs a thesis argument for anything you do, whether or not you're switching the type of milk you're using, you're sitting in a different position. She needs to know why in a detailed document. However, this comes back to double standards where she will not explain anything she does, and she believes that it's okay that, she just smacks you on the side of the head with no explanation. And finally, the secret weapon. Cheez-Its. This is like catnip on steroids for her. Useful in the following situations. Losing an argument. Post-winning an argument. She being annoying. She's angry at you for unknown reasons. When you just want some peace and quiet. So I suggest budgeting around Cheez-Its. And finally, surviving loving my sister. Easiest tip by far. You've chosen a wonderful and amazing person to live with. She's, full of fun and surprises, good and bad. And, despite her issues, my sister has been a role model, a guardian, a confidant, and a friend. She took care of me with my parents being so busy when we were younger. I would not be the person I am today without her. And she's my favorite sister by far. So, in conclusion, despite her Anusha-ness, you could not have picked a better wife or a companion. Side effects of living with her may include becoming like her. And this was supposed to be before the dance, but if you see our parents, celebrating afterwards as you're driving out, now you know why. And Cheez-Its. Cannot stress this enough. So good luck and Godspeed.
I'm only hugging you because people are watching.
Okay. Gotta soften the blow a little at the end, right? If you need any tips, I'm just a phone call away.
Fantastic.
Please look at that number.
Every newly married couple needs a brother-in-law like this.
Okay, I would like to have a lot of thanks. Mainly, I want to, first thing, I want to make the weather, we had this far. The final end, we couldn't make it, but that's okay. So we have an indoor and outdoor. Both we celebrated. And I would like to thanks to all the people in presence and physically, and the people who attended on the internet. Thank you very much for attending the function. And a lot of people helped, everybody helped here. So we know that, and we thank you all the youngsters, they were helping in the community center, everything, So we couldn't use a lot of other help locally, so we got it from you. Thank you all. And mainly, we didn't go to India, purchase or anything. Everything is done by my cousin and Vidya and the Nagaraj family. They did all the purchases. So we all everything video, and we can thank them very much. And Radhika, Madhavan, they were the one helpful of giving them big support. Physically as well as, we use everybody, their all resources. So thank you very much for them too. And my sister in Bangalore, they couldn't come over here. And they did all the purchases on silver items. So we got delegated to everyone, so everybody done something. And my brother, cousin brother in our Polachi and Ganesh and family, they did a lot of work, helped also. And even here, Jayasri and Satish, they did all our function tips and suggestions and religious stuff, all these things. And Murali made a very good food for these 2 days. And locally we have other people, they did excellent food. I hope, so you guys all locally food was, that's the first time we tried. So they did a good job.
Yes.
So everything was good. So we want to thank them all. And another thing, on the community center, we didn't expect we're going to, do little more and more. So finally we end up with very good with the help of Satya and Vinita, and they were supplying all the fresh flowers. That's their first new business they started. So we trusted them, but they did a very good job.
Yes.
So we got all fresh flowers, and they supplied also, and they helped a lot. And the final one, I want to thank my wife. She was the plan. I didn't do it. I'm just following up. And she did all those things, oh, I need this and that and one. She never satisfied with anything.
Universal secret.
Yes. No, I'm using that one.
Is that the survival guide?
that so I was following for several years. I'm doing it. But not really, so she planned all those things. And my daughter, Anusha was, even though she screams all these things, she finalized everything. And, she picked everything, design, color, and stage decorations, cake, everything. So I thank you for her, even though she was not nice with me. And my son, he's good. I thank you all of you.
Very next.
Yeah.
Payback.
So thank you all, everybody, so I hope everybody enjoyed the stay, but I don't know whether we did very good job.
I don't have to say too much because my husband spoke for both of us, but I want to say that I appreciate everything, all help from everybody, and I agree with everything he said. Thank you all for coming and making this function a good success.
Yes. Thank you.
Shankar, would you like to? Okay, do I need to come there? That's fine. Congratulations to both of you. Welcome, Anusha, to our wonderful family and your... Thank you. And first I want to take blessings from Amma Appa. It was perfect timing. They came to US in early 2020, and just then we started making plans for the wedding, and they have been there guiding us through every single step. Even Usha and Mohan, they would call every weekend, oh, ask Amma, is this the way we are supposed to do? Is this what we need to buy? And they are there to guide
Even
both sides.
She doesn't ask, we ask.
Okay, I'm going to let that pass. But thank you everybody so much. And there's a saying, it takes a village to raise a child. So I think it takes tons of villages to conduct such a beautiful wedding. And thank you, Kumar family, you have done a wonderful job. And not only the wedding event itself, but for raising such a beautiful, adorable daughter. We are so thank you everybody for being part of this. I mean, I know that we don't have to thank you. It's your job. We definitely appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.